Hey, don't forget, it ain't the first 48 with 60 minutes.
Cover the king, best not miss. Even the score now, we need to score now. Back on that wall, when you hear that call, you know it's going down. We play from beginning to ending, you know how we finish. Turn to the bank, gotta handle our business. We need the ball, so it's time to go get it. Play with your heart when you hit, make it feel it. You know I'm with. You come to the bank and get out of line, we sending a blitz. Say who you with? You know I'm with. That purple and black, and when we attack, you know what it is.
You're now locked in the Zone 32.
Welcome to another edition of the Zone 32 podcast. We've got 4 tonight. It's going to be 5 as soon as Jake shows up. But as usual, we got Will, we got Drew, we got Trippy. What's good, y'all?
You're not going to introduce yourself? What if people don't know who you are with this first time tuning in?
Well, my name is BT. I haven't been here the last couple of weeks because work is a motherfucker.
Shut the fuck up. I wanted to get lost in like a tangent and then do it, so I could be like, this is why Jake does it. But yeah, playoffs,
Kings of the North.
Again, we are
just,
back to back,
where we belong, where we always when Lamar's healthy, that's where we always are. So nice to win the North again. Not as easy of a win in the North this year as I would have hoped. Steelers had a little bit better of a record than I think we would have, projected at the beginning of the year. And that fucking loss to the Browns early in the year really made it kind of a little tighter of a race than it really should have been. Rough start, but I think before the year we all picked 12 to 14 wins, somewhere in there. So, pretty much right on track. I really think the only thing that we didn't pick correctly is that the Chiefs are going to go 15-2.
Right. I think that the Ravens win total was 10.5. Everyone was over on that. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, we were, a good team, and whether there was some growing pains with Orr. There was some personnel issues. Getting the offensive line a little bit better, adjusted, assimilated. Letting them gel a little bit. Like that took some time. But once we put Rosengarten in at right tackle, things looked a lot better. Once you took Marcus Williams out of the defense, it looked a lot better. So, I mean, this is pretty much what we expected. I think we've been saying all year, the regular season bores us, and let's get us to the playoffs. And we're here now. So, I don't know if we won the Browns game. I don't think anybody particularly fucking cares. We beat the Browns. Other than the Michael pick, there's really not much to write home about that game.
Zay.
See, I don't know. Zay getting hurt was this is the worst week for him to get hurt, because nothing you see in the media is ever going to be honest.
Right.
Zay could have every ligament in his knee is torn, and Harbaugh would send him to walk through the locker room in front of the media with a small brace on, just to fucking play head games with people. So, I think he plays that. I appear to be somewhat alone in this thought, but I think that if he is 60% or better, I think you see him on the field. He is not a guy that's going to, sit that kind of game out. And that's why we wanted him, when we drafted him. That's why Grant and I were so high on him. He's got that, dog in him, whatever the fuck you want to say. He's not going to sit that game out if he can even be remotely a factor. So, I don't know, it sucks he got hurt. You had to win that game. I saw a lot of people, kind of Monday morning quarterbacking Harbaugh saying, why do you have all these guys out here, blah, blah, blah. And it's you have to win that game. There's no.
But those same people would have said, against Tennessee in 2019 that resting the starters is why we lost the game.
Right. That's the no-win crowd. That's the whatever the Ravens do, they're going to say the opposite because they're assholes. It's fine. And I get being pessimist, whatever the fuck it is. It's kind of fun sometimes, but people would take it a little bit too far and are a little bit unhinged. I don't know, but none of that matters as we have a playoff game on Saturday coming up, which is the important thing.
Personally, I think Zay is out this week. I think the Ravens know. I mean, okay, we lost a game to the Steelers. The reason we lost that game is turnovers and because of Justin Tucker. You clean up those issues, and that game also was before the secondary got sorted out too. So I think this is a game that is manageable for them without Zay. They can spread the ball around. They can use the tight ends. They got Kohler back. Derrick Henry's going to get a lot of carries, obviously. but they know
So
how to
can
beat
you
them.
are you on your computer?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? You go to Pro Football Reference, and you look at Zay Flowers' career game log, and then sort it by team. I believe that was Zay Flowers' first win against the Steelers in a Ravens uniform.
That was definitely his first win for sure. Yeah.
And that was the only game that he's gone over 100 yards, is the one that we won. So, we can downplay and say that the Steelers suck and blah, blah, blah. But, like, that's the guy you want out there. That's Lamar's number one target as a wide receiver.
But they easily could have won the game earlier in the season. That had nothing to do with
but they didn't. So
yeah, but again, that the reason they lost that game had nothing to do with Zay, had nothing to do with anything but Tucker missing 3 kicks and the turnovers. And one of them was the most fluke turnover you'll ever see in a game ever.
yeah, that was the Justice Hill should have been a fumble, and it ended up being a
yeah. I mean, like a perfect throw, a great catch that somehow ends up in a turnover. Like it just inexplicable.
My thing is that if there's any shot for Zay Flowers, like I don't think you can.
Oh, that's a good point.
Henry also had less than 15 carries that first game, I think.
So it was a coaching malpractice issue going on.
Well, that was 2 where I think Henry had like 5 more carries than he actually did, and they all got called back as a holds and shit. I remember that being a flag fest. So again, I don't ever condone the idea of going into a one and done scenario without your best player. And Zay Flowers is still better than, I don't know, fucking Anthony Miller, Deontay Hardy, whoever the fuck you're going to put in instead of him. So, I'm rolling with Zay. I do feel like he'll play if there's, if he's capable of walking, I feel like he's going to play. I don't think he's going to pull, Roquan, or you can go back to like the days of Brandon Williams or some of these, softer guys, or Ronnie. And, I don't think he's going to milk that injury. And I don't particularly care about being overprotective of him, because it's a win or go home scenario. So I don't know if you saw John Harbaugh's speech about, being 1-0 every week. Like, that's how you got to approach the playoffs. Is you got to win every game and don't take anybody lightly. And none of this, we don't need Zay shit, because I feel like
no. I'm not saying we don't need him, but I'm saying if he's going to benefit from and be 90, 95, 100% for the divisional round when we're presumably going to be playing Buffalo, then you sit Zay this week, because again, if trotting Zay out there at 60%. I mean,
They haven't said what the injury is either. And we're not going to know what the injury
He's not
is.
playing.
According to who, though, Trip?
According to me, he's not playing.
Oh, you're just guessing he's playing. I thought you had some, sometimes you pipe in
No, I'm
with,
not guessing. I mean, I just, from the looks of it and from what I was hearing after the game, like, it'd be a miracle if he played. Now, I mean, I hope something happened, like, whereas though he do play, but I mean, if he like 60%, why force it?
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather have him at 90 to 100 next week than him play at 60. And then, okay, he plays at 60, and then his knee's already unstable, and he blows that fucker out.
But it depends on what the injury is. So, Trippy with a random NBA parlay.
My bad.
It depends on what the is too, though. It's
well, it's definitely a torn ACL, or a torn PCL, I should say.
Yeah,
according to
fucking might need amputation according to Dr. Tom, but
orthopedic expert. Trippy, you're killing us with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Trippy. I'm hearing my points.
There you go.
So. No, but like the fact that they haven't come out and said sprain, and it started off as a week to week, and now it's a day to day, and then you've seen walking around the locker room with a small brace. Like, I don't know what the fuck any of that means.
Harbaugh said day to day. That was the first thing he said the morning after the game, his first time in front of a mic. So it's Monday morning.
Right, but on Sunday it was coming out that he was, week to week, and they were going to get an MRI done, all this shit. So, like, I don't trust. So the only thing I can go off of is Zay Flowers as a person, and I promise you he'll tell the coaching staff and the medical staff that he's 100%, even if he's 5%. Like, that's just the kind of person he is, you know what I mean? So I think he plays. I don't know if it's the wise move for him to play. I also don't really care if it's a wise move or not. Like, I just want to win. So, that's kind of where I'm always at with this, is that when you're in a win or go home scenario, you put your best players out there. It's weird also going into like a playoff set like this where there's no questions, no injuries. Last year we had the Mark Andrews stuff. Was he coming back? Was he not coming back?
Yep.
He ended up coming back in the AFC Championship game, correctly predicted by me, like a week after the injury. Not to brag, but we don't have any issue. We don't really have any uncertainty in terms of what personnel we're going to go out there with. I know Kyle Hamilton was limited with a knee injury today, but who the fuck cares? I don't think that was anything serious because I know he went down at one point during the game, but I don't think it was, he was back like 3 plays later. So
Yeah. And it was like a carbon copy of earlier in the season when he walked off and he was holding his arm like he had like a collarbone injury or something. He went in the tent and then he was just out there the next defensive series and played the rest of the game. So
I think it was more of like a impact / like let me catch my breath type of.
that's what I thought
injury.
too. That's what I thought too. Just because it was so fucking cold.
it's the
And,
way he hits people too. I feel like he puts himself in these spots where like he could get the wind knocked. He hits people hard and he's playing through contact. He's not, pulling up on hit. I feel like that's always going to be a guy that, might have to sit out a play. It's fine, whatever. I don't particularly care. I want him out there, as many plays as possible. He's going to miss a play, but it also means that he's going to, hit people hard. Then I'm good with making that trade-off. Yeah, I mean, again,
because he gets the hit stick, then he goes out of play and comes back and makes either like a ball hawk or another hit.
I mean, the reality is the only person on defense that I am scared of seeing out there is Brandon Stevens. He's a ticking time bomb. Something will go horrifically wrong with him on the field, and it's how wrong does it go, and can you make sure it's only once? When you look at like our team and kind of the flaws we have, I would say that defensively he is really the weak link at this point, especially now that you haven't seen Marcus Williams since week 11. And then offensively, it's all going to come down to the line. Is TJ Watt is definitely healthier than the last time we played them, but Rosengarten still handled him really well. So, does that continue? Does TJ Watt make a couple of disruptive plays? How do our guards do? Is Flaley gonna, again, Flaley's another one. Like he's gonna miss blocks. Like it's just gonna happen. There's always gonna be 2 or 3 reps that you see of him on screen where he's fucking blocking air or whiffing at the guy running at him. And do we get the playoff anyway? Or does that hurt us or the strip sack or something like that? Like, that's the real question with him. And Makari is okay as long as he's not committing penalties. So is he going to, commit 40?
Voorhees played last week, right?
Yeah. And
Voorhees played both last week, and I think he got in towards the end of the week before.
The way Cole has been talking about Voorhees in the wake of this, sounds like there may be a decision that Voorhees may be the guy on the left side in the playoffs.
The deal with Makari has always been that he's got some kind of degenerative back and like he can't start. Like they don't feel comfortable with getting 17 healthy games out of him. And so going into the year and knowing that and still having him as starter was the Ravens picking their spots and letting him kind of heal for the playoffs. And honestly, since gone on, you've seen his play get worse and worse. I'm sure that, he's not 100% healthy. I doubt there's offensive linemen in the NFL right now that is 100% healthy. They'll lie to you that they are, but I'm sure that they're all banged up. I mean, you're getting slammed into by other 300-pound guys for 60 minutes a game. Like, you're going to have some shit going there. But so was him coming out of that last game early and not playing last week, kind of a built-in rest period for him to kind of get back to normal, or is there actually the guard at left guard?
Well, he's also been identified as actually the worst of the 5.
Yeah, he's been the most
worst of the season. He's
been the most penalized. You could argue Flaley is still worse than him. It kind of depends on, I guess how you're grading that out. My grading system extends to quarterbacks, so I don't grade offensive linemen. So I wouldn't know. But yeah, I mean, again, like we're not going into a playoff game. Is Ronnie hurt? Our running back, like we had Mark Ingram in 2019, who was, our bell cow back, and then he was hurt. Like Derrick Henry's fucking fine.
Right.
Justice Hill is coming back rather than being hurt. So, again, that's a pretty big plus. Our real questions health-wise are really only Zay, which is odd. What does this comment say?
Looks like a friend of Trippy, Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast.
Trippy's here, right?
Trip, you're on mute.
Trippy, you're on mute. I see his lips.
Trey, what's up, my guy? That's my guy, Trey.
There we go. All right. We got the shout out. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about the playoffs because of Derrick Henry. Because we have the guy that just fucking ripped our hearts out in 2019. He's a killer. He's a fucking closer. And
he is built for winter football in the Northeast.
And he looks excited about it too. He looks like energized.
It's been a while since he's been on a meeting, so
right. A team that really, really, truly has a chance to win the Super Bowl, like that Tennessee team. Let's be serious. Fucking Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback. They outperformed expectations, but And I'm sure they all believe
they were on a Cinderella run at that
right,
point.
exactly. Like it was one of those things where it was like, okay, wow, this is really happening for them. But like the Ravens, man, the expectations you're going to be here anyway. So I mean, he didn't come to Baltimore to play with Lamar, to maybe make the playoffs and maybe win a game. Like, he looks dialed in. He's ready. And like, early in the game, I think the first half he had like 6 carries for 8 yards, and he ended up with I don't know how many carries. He had 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. So
yeah, and that was finally a moment where the Ravens stuck with the run.
Yeah.
It wasn't working, and they just kept fucking running the ball, and it finally worked. If Harbaugh has any, just call 7 straight run plays to Henry to start the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I mean, like, okay, and there's every reason to expect they will do the opposite of what they should, but it really, like, the coaching and the play calling has felt like they've been calling plays preparing for the playoffs, because Derrick Henry's getting more and more carries most of the time as the game gets further into it. Like, you're seeing him really, you come out in the third quarter and you're getting a lot of Derrick Henry right away, and then the fourth quarter, he owns the fourth quarter. So as long as they don't forget, they don't get cute, they don't deviate from that formula, I just don't see.
Don't forget who you are.
And
if it's a big moment, don't over.
Just go with it, man. Just do what you've been doing. Just do
right.
Do what's working.
You are the Baltimore Ravens. You are 12-5. You're playing a home playoff game to succeed because you were better than them in the regular season. You made some mistakes early on. You've become a better team in probably the last 7 weeks of the season. I would say things really started to click for them. You are at the point you are right now by trusting your guys and making those play calls. Just stick with that. And if you get punched in the mouth 2 minutes into the game, who the fuck cares? Don't panic. And I know Lamar had a press conference today, and he said, like, I don't remember exactly what he said, and I don't want to butcher what he said, but it was essentially that, like, he got nervous in the playoffs and he got happy and he made some mistakes, and like, that's cool. It happened. Learn from it. Don't do it again. This is a year where you're built to win a championship. Like, let's see this one through. You've done all the right things. You got all the right guys in the right spots. Like, you're healthy, which is one of the biggest keys to winning a Super Bowl, is that everybody's, playing and active for you. So don't fuck it up, and don't get nervous in the moment. Don't do dumb shit like you did against Tennessee, like you did against the Chargers, like you did against the Bills, like you did against the Chiefs. It just seems like every time they lose a playoff game, there's a moment in the game where they get punched in the fucking mouth, and then they just totally change the game plan and can't recover from it.
Right.
You play 60 full minutes. The only time you really have to be in the game is when the clock shows 0-0-0 at the end of the fourth quarter. So if you're chasing the entire game, but you stick with your plan and you end up winning with a second left, it's still a win. You don't get credit for leading for 59 minutes, 59 seconds. It's only the score at the end of the game that matters. And I hope this is the year that either we're just so fucking good that coaching doesn't play a factor into it, and that there is no situation where our coaching come back to bite us, or they just finally get over that fear, lights of the brightest, and they fucking choke. I don't know how to describe it perfectly for what it's been, since Lamar came here, but like, this is the year to just get over it and move forward with it.
So I'm just looking at numbers right now. I mean, the team is battle tested. They've won 9 games against playoff teams. They have, the only teams to score more than 30 points against this defense all year, and this defense was ranked 32nd in the league pass defense for the first 10 weeks.
The Bengals
and
the Bucks.
Yep, and the Bucks is fake because it was like fake points being scored at the very
it
end
was
of the
like
game.
What was it, like 41-21 or something like that? And
Yeah, it's 41-21 with like 6 minutes left.
Yeah, and they gave up two fake touchdowns. So
or 41 to 17. It was some crazy number like that. So
yeah, and then they ended up
that 31 is kind of fake, is junk points. But the Bengals scored over 30, honestly. But every other team we played, we've held them under 30 points. Not holding someone under 30 points is not any kind of like remarkable task. But in the last 4 games since the bye, the most amount of points they gave up was 17 against the Steelers, which again I think those were kind of like, those points are kind of meaningless as well. But
yeah, definitely one touchdown meaningless.
they've outscored opponents 135-43 in those 4 games. So
And-
the offense is playing well, scoring over 30 every single game, and the defense is only giving up a little over 10 points.
I was talking to a pretty pronounced, Ravens hater over the weekend, and every year tells me the same shit. You guys peaked at the wrong time. Like they were good, and now they're kind of coasting and falling off, and their shit kicked in the playoffs. And he's been right all these years. He said, this is the year where it seems like you guys are peaking at the right time. I feel like we took our ugly loss to the Eagles later in the year, and it kind of helps us in terms of like being a better team and kind of, you figured out your weaknesses. And, there was still some drops and shit on Sunday or Saturday. There
were a lot.
There was a couple stupid penalties. Brandon Stevens got cooked a couple times. Like, I feel like, that's the other thing too, is that in the playoffs, the Titans game is the one that sticks out to me. The first drive, you get the Mark Andrews tip pass that turned into an interception, and then it just felt like the floodgates opened. Like, don't let that happen.
Right.
It's okay to make mistakes. Shit might happen. You're playing good football team. Regardless of what we're going to say about the Steelers after this point, like, they did make the playoffs. They were a solid compared to the rest of the AFC. So they're not just some scrub opponent that's going to come in and roll over and die. Like, they're also playing for season. They have a veteran head coach who's been here before. They have a veteran quarterback who's played in Super Bowls before. I think they have a couple of, George Pickens is a moron. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if George Pickens knows what pressure is. I feel like George Pickens' own worst enemy is himself. And I don't think that it being
last week, one of the funniest stats you're ever going to hear is George Pickens went into week 18 with 900 passing yards, receiving yards. He caught 1 pass on 6 targets for -1 yard. So he ended the season with 899. Not that 900 is some kind of benchmark number milestone.
No, but they were talking about
fucking hilarious.
Going to get 1,000 after missing a couple games too, and all of a sudden it's he's got 899. But he's not a guy that at the moment matters to at all. I think he's too fucking stupid and too fighting his own inner demons for a playoff game to matter. So that could be maybe he freaks the fuck out and shuts down again and gets -1 yards, or maybe he's just like, oh, fuck it, and goes off for $150 and 2 touchdowns. You just really don't know what you're going to get out of him. I feel like TJ Watt is just looking to injure people at all times. So I don't know if the moment matters to him at all. But you have enough experienced guys.
Has TJ Watt ever been on a Steelers team that won a playoff game?
I don't think so.
So what year did he get drafted?
He's never won a playoff game?
2015,
no, I don't
right?
think so. Let me ask one of my friends real quick.
So then he would have been there for at least one.
He's been there for all the, them be stomped the last couple times they've gone in the playoffs. I know that.
2017. No.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
2017. He's never won a playoff game.
Dan, don't let Saturday be his first.
Hold on. Yeah. No, he's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, they have Najee, who is kind of, dollar store Derrick Henry. Seems disrespectful to Derrick Henry, but he is a, big Alabama running back. Is kind of built for this weather. So, that's a guy to watch. Interior defensive line is going to matter a lot there, and, kind of win your matchups against their guards, their center. So Freiermuth's the safety blanket.
TJ Watt, or my one friend who's a Steelers fan, confirmed. No, he was drafted in 2017 and started the playoff drought.
Oh, interesting. So TJ Watt is a curse. I like that. I hate TJ Watt. So
he just chases Defensive Player of the Year awards. He doesn't care about Lombardis.
Sounds a whole lot like fucking Josh Allen and chasing MVPs. Yep. Can we just as a society, I don't know, take away Bills fans, First Amendment rights for a couple weeks, and Dan Orlovsky wouldn't be allowed on television? I muted that game on Saturday. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he brought in Josh Allen. I was like, yep, I don't want to listen to this anymore. You were a backup quarterback for a fucking basketball, Dan Orlovsky. You then went to the NFL.
Have you ever looked at his fucking career numbers too?
The only thing people fucking remember him for is that Jared Allen chased him out of the back of the fucking end zone. And that gif gets played 1,000 times. Dude, shut the fuck up. You talk all this shit about, knowing football, use the eye test, and I watched Josh Allen. You got your job taken by a fucking serial killer's brother for quarterback in college, okay? You then went to the biggest fucking loser franchise in NFL history, the Detroit Lions, at the point that they drafted him. They were a fucking loser franchise, and you couldn't sniff the fucking field, And then when you did sniff the fucking field, you made an ass out of yourself by running out of the back of the end zone. That's all anybody ever remembers. So, like, fuck off. Stop with this eye test bull and this, he just goes on TV and contradicts himself every other fucking day. He's talking about, like, oh, Josh Allen has no weapons and, no 1,000-yard players. Meanwhile, James Cook had 1,000 yards. If Josh Allen didn't, vulture 11 touchdowns away from him, you're talking about James Cook potentially fucking win, breaking the all-time touchdown record for a single season. But I got to listen to these retards on television over and over again, tell me how great Josh Allen is. I feel like this is a to tie this to politics. I know I don't like to get political, but Jake's not here, so I feel like we can talk about the vaccine and
I
politics.
feel like we can.
Yeah. But like when Trump won in 2016, nobody wanted to talk about that they were voting Trump and that they just like placated the liberals, saying, oh, just let them run wild and let them feel like Hillary Clinton was going to win. And then the actual votes came out and Trump won by a pretty significant margin. I feel like we're kind of like in the same thing here for, fucking MVP voting of like, nobody wants to tell Bills fans that shut the fuck up. Your guy's not the MVP. So like, they're just like, yeah, crazy people. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Your guy's MVP. I saw a tweet from some guy that Max told to suck off because he had a thread, but I remember him being an anti-Lamar guy before. But he posted a picture of it was like a child Josh Allen crying in the front of a classroom, and then Mahomes with MVP awards and Lamar with MVP awards behind him. And he was saying like, the only valid reason for Josh Allen to win an MVP is that nobody's sharing MVP.
DEI Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's it. When you counter every argument, it always comes back to what the real sentiment is. Oh, he should have won one by now. Well, no, he shouldn't, because someone else fucking won it in all those years. So yeah, if you take out of context some of the seasons he's had, well, you take some of those seasons he had, and then you compare them against other years where someone won the MVP, then you're removing the context of why the person won the MVP that particular season.
Josh Allen had a great fucking year. Josh Allen deserves to be mentioned in the MVP conversation. That doesn't fucking mean that you give him an award being like, here you go, buddy. Like, here you go, little retard. Right. Like, have your award. Congratulations, pal.
It's just what makes me really
it's insulting to Josh Allen to give him
the most
MVP.
Annoying part to me is it started with saying, well, this is just like what happened last year. It's not, because what Lamar's doing this year is,
nobody
in a different class. No one's ever done what he did this year.
Yeah, no player has thrown for 4,000 yards and rushed for 900 yards.
Right.
No player has had 40-plus touchdowns and only 4 picks. I would argue Lamar should only have 3 picks, and I would argue that Lamar Jackson has only thrown 1 straight-up interception, and that was because his wide receivers stopped running. But he did throw the ball, and it wasn't touched by anybody else intercepted. So, I would argue that you could have a 3-1-1 year for Lamar if you really want to play that game. What I fucking stand from Bills fans is just this, like, nobody cares that much about MVP. It really doesn't fucking matter. The only reason I've even talked about it the last 2 weeks is that these retarded arguments about like, oh, well, Josh Allen deserves MVP. Drew Brees is probably looked at as a top 10 quarterback of all time. Maybe you could argue top 10. I don't know. He's in that range. I fucking hate Drew Brees. But like, does he come out and say, oh, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady took them all from me? Like, no, he never put up an MVP.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So the Bills fans started with, now it's just like last year, Josh Allen had better numbers than Lamar, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then when you point out that that's not really true, when you actually dig into those numbers and why it happened, and then the context of Lamar being on the best team, so, the getting number 1 seed, playing a tougher schedule, all those things, whatever.
Josh Allen got his offensive coordinator fired mid-season last year.
So then it goes from it's about last year to, Lamar's MVP numbers don't compare to this other MVP season. And then that's where they pivot to, and in this season where Josh Allen didn't win it, look at his numbers compared to Lamar's last year. And it's like, none of this fucking matters, dude. Lamar is so far ahead of every other motherfucker this year. It's ridiculous that we're having this conversation. These numbers they're not the same. They're just not even close.
If you pin them down on like an argument about last year's numbers, they always bring up Tyrod Taylor under Greg Roman. And it's like, oh, I wonder why you keep bringing him up. Maybe because he played for the fucking Bills then, and like you guys are this, thirsty for I don't even know. Like, what do you want? Like, nobody cares that Josh Allen wins the MVP. It's not like you're gonna like win online arguments. People are gonna like walk up to you in the street and be like, "Oh, hey, congratulations, Bills fan! Josh Allen won an MVP." Like, no, your life's not gonna change at all.
Well, and all the arguments we're making about why we think Lamar should win the MVP, they don't change after, no matter who wins it. The argument's still the same. It's if the voters decide that, I think it's obvious why. It's what we're saying. What it boils down to, not with the Bills fans, but with the actual voters, is a lot of them is they're like, oh well, he should have won one by now, so it's his turn. There's no fucking turn.
Gun to
annual
your
award.
Gun to my head. It's Jared Goff's award or Patrick Mahomes' award to lose, because the last 7 MVPs have been quarterbacks from a number 1. So Josh Allen is not a quarterback from a number 1 seed, so he shouldn't get it. And Lamar won't get it because he's not a quarterback from a number 1 seed. You know, if you look at
Sam Darnold probably played his way out of that one on Sunday, but
also by Sam Darnold is no longer a number 1 seed, so he
oh yeah, true.
Not only threw his way out of it, but he also took himself out of the running by not being the 1 seed anymore. Yeah, I can't stand. And then the other sentiment I keep seeing online, and you echoed some of it in private, the extend Ronnie Stanley. I need people to put on their thinking caps for a few minutes here, okay? Ronnie Stanley, I called him Robin the Ravens Ronnie, Rest Day Ronnie, fucking Stealing Stanley. I was coming up with all kinds of alliterations on his first and last name. And then all of a sudden, he takes a pay cut and he's basically on a 1-year deal for us. All of a sudden, he's healthy all 17 games, because he's playing for another contract. Okay, so this nonsense of like, let's pay Stanley big money and, all-pro Ronnie's back. And, this is our guy and our cornerstone left tackle. Like, don't fall for it. When Ronnie Stanley gets paid again, you're going to see the nagging injuries come back. And he might not show up to practice every day. And he might miss a few games here and there. And so if you're going to extend Ronnie, you do it smartly. I think after 4 or 5 matches back and forth, like you said, I don't know, like a 3 and 60 contract, that's really a 1-year deal. And you only really add the last 2 years to spread out the signing bonus and, minimal guarantees. Like,
and maybe you put a void year in there too. You do, and basically his first year is fully guaranteed. You give him like $18 million signing bonus and the veteran minimum.
Yeah,
and to get him to 20.
You give Ronnie Stanley a Tim Wakefield contract.
Yeah.
The Red Sox had with Tim Wakefield that every year, and it was no money at all, so the money's not going to be comparable. But it was like $7 million, basically by, I don't know, whatever it was, fucking December 25th, by Christmas, by January 1st, whatever the fuck it was. The two sides would meet and be like, yeah, I want to play another. Red Sox would be like, yeah, we'll have you back. And his option got picked. And they just perpetually did that until Tim Wakefield was like, fuck it, I'm 73 years old and I want to retire. Okay? Like, if you want to give Ronnie a deal like that where you can put all the fucking fake money and the cap shit into it, I don't care. That the reality is both sides go into the year knowing that it's a one-and-done contract, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, but the
I like that
really,
idea.
The motivation behind it is he needs to get paid fairly, and that's not like, so you can't come back to him and be like, hey man, you got to earn all this back in incentives this year because he just played all 17 games. So like, okay, you go to him and you say, all right, we're going to do it 1 year at a time. We'll guarantee your contract at the beginning of the year. When you're coming into the year healthy, we'll guarantee the whole thing.
Right. You make it so that he can make a fair amount of money every year if he continues to play every game.
Right.
The real guy
because he's not like, it's okay. You can have a guy that starts every game who sucks. He's pretty good. I mean, I'd say he's like a top 10 to 15 left tackle.
He's not quite all pro Ronnie Stanley, but he's not bad either.
No, yeah. So like if you can get that guy 17 games a year, and again, and it's a familiarity thing with Lamar. Lamar trusts him, obviously. It's the most important position on that line. And he's been the guy, obviously he was out a while with injury, but like Lamar trusts him. That's a big thing.
Lamar knows him. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's somewhere in the
he's got to be he's got to be a big piece as to why this run game works the way it does.
He's not necessarily all pro Stanley, but he's definitely not, hey, I'm 100%, but I'm really not Ronnie Stanley.
He's not.
No, he's
not drunk idiots.
He's
like
somewhere
me.
in between.
He's a very, very solid left tackle.
On Sunday, I'm watching the game, and I watch Falele blow a block, or I watch Makari throw a block, and I'm motherfucking them to death and screaming at my television and, like, borderline tweeting death threats at them. Like, he's not that, okay? but he's also not like this is the greatest left tackle of all time.
No,
so, which is fine. Like I don't think we need all pro Ronnie Stanley. So you're not paying him an all pro price. But if that number's 17 million, 18 million, whatever the fuck, sure. But,
somewhere in there, right? Exactly.
But
I just don't want to hear people talking about, oh yeah, we need Ronnie Stanley back, and then they're like appalled that he's making $19 million a year. That's what it costs to have a good left tackle.
Well, the other thing that I can stand about these fans is, we need this guy and this guy and this guy, and then it's oh my God, look how much money we're spending on this guy and roster construction. Anybody who uses the term roster construction in a football debate, I feel like we should just be able to, beat them over that or the golf club. That word is the most triggering word on the internet to me because it's a bullshit cop-out because people don't understand how to, look at a football team. They just want this, cookie-cutter nonsense that some dipshit coach or YouTube guy that they listen to said, this is how you should build your roster, and they want every roster to fit in there. The reality is, our team wouldn't work for a different coaching staff or with different players. We have Lamar Jackson. Okay, we have a very good run game. And so guys like Ronnie Stanley are a little bit more important. Guys like Patrick Ricard are a little bit more important than they are to the market. And so
Ricard's another guy that we should be extending, by the way. We need to get him.
Absolutely.
See,
he's under contract this year or next year?
He's an unrestricted free agent after the year. I'm sure that they'll find a way to pay him.
I
don't know. I feel like he is a guy that you say, Patrick, we're going to give you money. Just be patient while we figure out other people. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then he goes, on the Western Mass in the mountains and fucking, I don't know, fights deer or something like that. I don't know. Fucking.
I mean, I know where he is based, where he's settled. It's a nice neighborhood. I know people who live there. He's got a couple little kids. So I think he's pretty rooted around here.
Just want the record to show that, Patrick, if you're listening to this, Will is doxing you right now.
He only got one kid.
He beat his ass.
Oh, he had two. Thought he had twins.
He got one. He just had a daughter.
Okay. All right. Whatever.
So just per Trippy, Will is doxing, and he's not even doing it right, Patrick. So
yeah. I'm only saying that because to say I think he's rooted pretty well. I think he likes where he's at. So
and I don't mean this as a lot to the football team.
Right.
I don't think he means the same thing on the market that he means to the Ravens.
Okay. I was talking to someone who doesn't have a whole lot of familiarity with all the intricacies of football.
Mm-hmm.
They are a Steelers fan and asked what position Pat Ricard plays, and I said fullback, and they were like, "What's that?" And I dawned on me, Steelers don't have a fullback. I can't remember them really ever having one.
I think they had Derek Watt a while,
and he retired.
Yeah, but they kind of used him as a tight end, they didn't really use him like the way we use Ricard and the way that what's the guy in Ingold, Alex Ingold gets used. I don't even see Juszczyk. I don't even really consider him a fullback.
Yeah, he's more an H-back.
Yeah.
He also wasn't. He's what?
Drew's guy is here.
13. He needs a massage.
Who is this? Am I supposed to remember this individual?
That's your guy.
Why is this my guy? Am I missing some bit here that I'm was too drunk to remember from last time? This is the guy who came in and said a whole bunch of sexual shit about me and didn't show up for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just remember, people talk about Joy Taylor was sexually harassed by a superior at Fox Sports, or Jason Whitlock made creepy sexual comments, but I got to come on the air and get assholes 15 seconds writing this shit about me. So, me too, I guess. I don't fucking know.
So the profile picture is Andy Reid. So I don't know, man.
I just fit the profile. That's fine. I understand.
Well, I have a theory as to who could be behind this, but
Visionless Dave.
I don't think Visionless Dave would sexually harass me under another name. I think he'd want me to know it was him.
That's probably fair.
Yeah,
it's got to be a Minifan though.
Yeah, I don't know. That's creepy to even think about. There's a lot of them. None of them are Chiefs fans, I think. But they might throw an Andy Reid profile picture on just because the fat guy
with
the mustache.
1.5 mil.
Why not? I mean, what the fuck? Am I not worth 1.5 mil? See the shit I got to deal. I got to get sexually harassed, and then I got to be told you're not worth 1.5 million. That is the wildest part of that thing to come out. By the way, is that Skip Bayless is offering 1.5 million to have sex with people. Can you fucking
with a hairdresser, right? Not Joy Taylor.
I'm pretty sure it was a hairdresser.
It was a hairdresser, but then
some sort of stylist.
Could you 1.5? I just I would have told somebody right away, but Skip Bayless is trying to throw $1.5 million at me. What do I do? That's bizarre to me. and that's just coming out now. And then, then you got Jason Whitlock with the peanut butter skin and huge rack comments. That was just so I saw that and I thought it was because I was like, "There's no fucking way this moron went on camera and said this." And then I went to he tweeted it.
There was also a thing on TikTok where that Zion Williamson basketball player commented on Joy Taylor's thing. Can I hit next?
That was fake.
That was fake.
Wait, was it?
Yeah, that was fake, but it was still funny. I know exactly.
That NBA Centel makes one of those with Zion Williamson. I guess is just like a thirsty guy. And,
he is.
Do you not know the Zion Williamson story or no?
Well, like they did this with Sydney Thomas a couple of weeks ago too, and she had to like quote tweet it and say that never happened.
So Zion Williamson was dating is the wrong word. He was paying this. She's 93% silicone. OnlyFans model, like paying her like ridiculous sums of money to fly out and like sleep with him. And then I don't know, she got pregnant or she got a boyfriend. I don't remember what the fuck the deal was. And they like stopped talking for a while. And then they were back together and she like found his phone and it was just like 8 million messages to all OnlyFans women being like, "Hey, want to hang out?" And then she exposed him and she went nuts on the internet for like the entire summer. So that's why NBA to Zion Williamson. It's a recurring bit that he is, like you said, a thirsty guy who loves those kind of people. But anyway.
But if the NBA has to get involved with him being thirsty.
No, the NBA had to get involved because it was trying to like, being like, "Zion, if you don't wire me another $500,000, I'm going to fucking like tell them what kind of drugs you're taking and shit like that."
That's
like it. Yeah, it was a whole fuck thing. It was kind of funny. But like the shit that she was posting that she would send him was, pretty wild.
But anyways,
see, this is why we miss. I give Jake a lot of shit on air. Actually, fuck you, Jake, for not showing up when you said you were going to come. But Jake is the one who's supposed to step in and fucking, this. Jake says all the time. He's like, "Oh, it's the vaccine is why you guys are crazy like this. This is why you're, you people can't figure shit out." I got to step away. I'll be back in hopefully shortly.
All right.
But we got a big dog dad in here. Imagine if the internet existed when Wilt Chamberlain played.
Imagine that.
That's hilarious, honestly. But going to the playoff game, or back to the playoff game and the implications, it's just like I just saw a headline saying Broderick Washington Jones, whoever it was, one of the Steelers' offensive tackles, was saying he was hoping to see us again in the playoffs. And
okay.
So I'm just like, wait, is that Baltimore Pittsburgh rivalry actually still alive, or is that just starting to fade? Because based off that, I could say that it's still somewhat alive.
I guess. I don't know.
It's weird because, the way that we're seeing this rivalry go forward is there's more respect and kindness amongst the players versus the past, except for when we play Cincinnati. Apparently that's just all straight trash talk. But versus Pittsburgh, we don't really see that anymore.
No, I mean, it's weird. Pittsburgh has been one of those teams where, obviously we have trouble with them during the regular season over the past few years, but they've also kind of been irrelevant. If they get into the playoffs, no one fears them. I think we've been over these numbers before, but I think during this losing streak of theirs, so dating back to 2017, so we're at 8 years now.
My buddy sent me a list of it. The 3 playoff games of T.J. Watt's career. The Jaguars lost 45-42 with Ben throwing a pick.
They're giving up over 40 points a game.
Yep. And then the Browns, that was a 40-point game. And then the Chiefs collapse in 2020.
Yeah. Hold on, numbers.
Because, one of my best friends up in this area, he is unfortunately a Steelers fan. And we go back and forth about
I'm back.
games.
I'm not going to turn the camera on because we have an uninterrupted guest.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Don't have children. Where were we?
We're about to hold on.
I just made mention that that Steelers offensive tackle Broderick something.
Broderick Washington?
Yeah, that one. Made mention that he was hoping to see Baltimore in the playoffs. and it seemed like the Pittsburgh-Baltimore rivalry is still there a little bit, but
You
not
mean
as
Broderick? You mean Broderick Jones? You said Broderick
Jones.
lost his injury.
Oh yeah, Broderick Washington plays for our team. Good call.
But it seems like just a little bit with that headline or that statement that the OG rivalry is still there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Broderick Jones go to Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's some, idiot streak in him. Is that the consensus there?
Absolutely.
It does feel different than past years where I felt like for a couple of years there, neither team was really good at the same time too, which was also part of the problem. But that, now you got they're playing in the playoffs. Like nothing reignites a rivalry like that. Red Sox Yankees was dead for a couple of years until they played in the playoffs, and then it kind of sparked it up again.
All right, so let's just do the TJ Watt era, their last 3 playoff games, so dating back to 2020. And I understand that a game in 2020 doesn't necessarily have all that much bearing on now, but there is a trend here. So 3 games, they give it up 121 points. Outscored by 46, outscored 77-24 in the first half, 42-0 in the first quarter. They have not scored a point in the first quarter in 3 playoff games.
Which all that tells me is that
28-0.
Punch them in the fucking mouth.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you go after them early, you will win. 28-0. If you want to talk about them playing a divisional game and a playoff game, the 28-0 first quarter game was against Cleveland in 2020. So division or not, they were getting their ass kicked in the first quarter by the Cleveland Browns in 2020. So
and that's a fake year, but it's still
the matter of the fact.
Yeah,
it still happened, and like I said, it's still a trend. They didn't score a point in the next 2 playoff games in the first quarter either. They've been outscored 42-0 in the first quarter in 3 playoff games. So and minus 46 overall in 3 games. That's really bad. That's really fucking bad. And giving up over 40 points a game. That's the big one. They're giving up points, man. This defense does not lock in.
And it's funny because when we lose playoff games, I feel like that is kind of what happens is that the opposing team comes out hot and sort of puts us in a hole, and we're stupid about chasing it for the rest of the game. Yep. And it seems like the Steelers are very susceptible to that. So, John Harbaugh should know all about that. Should know all about letting the other team get out to an early lead and then kind of panicking and shitting your pants. So, let's flip the script a little.
Yeah.
And what better way to do it than against the division rival and the Steelers?
I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Let's do scores and uniform.
Trippy, I feel like you should lead us off.
Yeah, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Ravens 30, Steelers 9.
Nice. I like that score.
What do you got for a uniform combo?
Classic, purple, white.
Regular purple or light purple?
Regular purple.
BG?
I'm going to stick with the trend of going into the 40s. I'm going to say 42-21, and I'm going to go purple-black.
All right. I'm going to go 31-10, and I'm going to go purple-white as well. I don't love it, but I think that's probably what we'll go. I would love to see all black. I just don't know if they're going to pull that out.
Well, they are allowed to do one. There's no rule against pants in the playoffs. It's just it's just the jersey. You can do an alternate once.
If you're ever going to do an all black game, it's going to be a primetime game against Pittsburgh. But
and we got Jake here for the final bit.
Black purple.
What up, y'all?
The fuck was that?
What up, though?
Everything.
I thought my fucking headphone exploded.
You're welcome. So you're going 31-10 purple jerseys, white pants for Saturday?
Yes.
That's what Drew's doing. I'm doing 42-21 with purple black. Trippy's doing white pants white pants, purple jerseys as well. I don't remember the score.
Trippy did 30-9.
30-9.
Okay.
I like Trippy's score the best. I think it's playoffs. Usually you'll see the refs kind of swallow their whistles a little bit. Steelers defense is a little healthier than they were when we beat the shit out of them a few weeks ago. But that being said, give me Baltimore 23-14. They're rocking all purple. I don't see that Steelers offense doing anything against that Ravens defense. I really don't.
That's fair.
All right. I'm going over 40. I'm going 45-17.
There you go.
We're going to beat their ass. We're going to beat the fuck out of them. And purple black. Purple black.
Purple black.
Yeah, I can see purple black.
Because we wore purple black, or we wore.
I was just
black
about to say that. I
pants
can see purple black too.
the whole 2012 season or postseason. So,
Or at least we wore black pants that whole postseason. But yeah,
yep.
it was purple black against the Colts, then white black the rest of the way.
We wore purple black both playoff games last year too.
We
Both
did.
home games. And
Yeah,
we're
we did.
not guaranteed a home game after this.
Yeah.
No, which I
Which
think
is
will
the
be
only
purple
reason I think
pants from
black
here on.
might be on the table. Might be.
That's feasible. I'm leaning towards purple pants the entire postseason.
All right, fuck it. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna go all black.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Just wanted on the record that I talked Will into going all black. If
You
it's
did.
right, then if it's right, then I still get credit.
That's right.
All right.
Dress
Well,
up for the Steelers' fucking funeral.
I think that covers it.
There it
I
is.
agree.
Well, just in time, because that's going to do it for this week's installment. We'll be back next week to discuss this, that, and the other. But meanwhile, it's time for me to die. Player.
Zone 32.